On this video, I would like to talk about the psychology of objections. Why is it that clients object in the first place? What's the thinking behind it? And how should salespeople manage an objection effectively? But before we look at why people object, let's first define what is an objection in the first place. So if I were to ask you, how would you define an objection? What is an objection? You see, from my experience, most salespeople will call an objection a resistance or a negative mindset or a concern, a problem, a reason not to buy. And if you listen to all of these which I gave as answers, they're all negative. They're all negative, which suggests that an objection is a bad thing. But actually, on the contrary, an objection is a good thing. So here's my definition of an objection in sales. So an objection is a fantastic opportunity, one, to change the mindset of the client, two, to close the deal, and three, to build long-term business relationship. So an objection is actually an opportunity. Why? You see, when a client raises a concern or a question, he's finding a reason why he shouldn't go ahead with the meeting or he shouldn't go ahead with the decision. But if you can answer that question effectively, where does he go after that? So an objection is actually positive. It's a client putting in front of you a reason why he should not buy, and if you are a master at selling, you convert the same reason into the reason why he should buy. So managing objections will basically shift the client from a resistance to buy mindset to a willingness to buy mindset. Now, an objection basically means that a client is actually listening to you. He's interested in what you're saying at that point, and he's evaluating the validity of what you're saying. Listen to what I just said. The client is listening to you, and that's a positive. He's showing interest, otherwise he wouldn't be listening, which is again positive. And he's trying to establish the validity of what you're saying, which is great, because if what you're saying has credibility in it, the client is one step closer to the sale. So, as a salesperson, we don't need to get defensive when a client raises an objection. In fact, you should get excited. Because the client who has made up his mind that he's not going to buy is not going to spend his time getting into a conversation or an argument in some cases with you by raising all these negatives or concerns that he has. He would simply keep quiet, or he would simply say something like, let me think about it, or he'll just walk away. So a client who's listening to you, who's raising concerns, means he's actually evaluating the potential of what you have to take care of his need, which is a great sign. So when a client tells you your product is too expensive or your prices are too high, what is he actually saying? All he's saying is, look, you haven't yet convinced me why I should put this kind of money for this type of product. So if a client says, I'm not convinced about the quality of your product, all the client is saying is, you haven't yet shown me why the quality of what you're offering justifies the price that you're asking. That's all he's saying. So we don't need to get defensive when clients raise an objection. Now, the psychology of the objection is what we need to focus on. You see, when a client raises the objection, he perceives it in his mind as a concern or a reason why he shouldn't go ahead with it. And that is a negative feeling on the inside of the client. Therefore, it comes out in a manner that could be negative. As a salesperson, you simply have to put the emotion to the side, listen to the content of what the client is telling you, and then deal with it. So why is it that clients actually object? There could be a few reasons for that. You see, the first reason is maybe simply a lack of trust. Maybe the client isn't yet convinced about you as the salesperson. 54% of the reason a client makes a buying decision is you, the salesperson, according to a research done by Sales Survey in 2009. So maybe if the client is objecting, maybe he just isn't convinced yet about you or the company or the brand. So it could be a trust issue. All you need to do is probe to understand more. The second reason why clients object, the psychology behind it, is that, you see, A client is in a position where he has to part with some money, and nobody likes to part with their money. As human beings, our psychology is we like to take, but we don't like to give. So while I want what you have, I'm not comfortable really paying for that. So the natural reaction is I voice that discomfort in the shape of some objection or the other. The third reason could simply be a lack of understanding and a need for more clarification, and that's the reason why the client could be objecting. So he could be objecting because of a lack of trust. He could be objecting because he doesn't want to put that kind of money for the product, not fully convinced of the value of it. Third, it could be because he needs additional clarification and there are some gray areas in this product and its benefit is looking a little bit foggy at this point to him. Now, the fourth reason why a client could object is simply to rattle the salesperson. It's simply to throw you off track and to leverage and negotiate, discount, or get something extra for free. Something that will make the value of what he's buying higher. And then there is a fifth reason why clients object. You see, we have all made some bad buying decisions in the past. We've made decisions where we felt that the product would do something for us, but it just didn't match up to our expectations. Now, while all of that has been in the past and it may have had absolutely nothing to do with you, it's in our subconscious mind, and in this moment, the subconscious mind recognizes a sales interaction similar to the ones of the past, and it starts to throw up the feelings of apprehension or concern based on what happened in the past. Now, because it's subconscious, it's also unconscious, which means that you will not, as a client, you will not notice why this feeling is coming up, but you will experience that concern or the emotion. And so the logical thing to do is to find what will go wrong or find what doesn't make sense, to question that and raise it as an objection. That is not the reason not to buy. It's a client simply voicing his concerns. Professional salespeople recognize this, which is exactly why they spend good time upfront building rapport and establishing trust, because that will go a long way in dealing with the objections when they come up. So to sum up this video, what is an objection? An objection is firstly positive, not negative. It is a fantastic opportunity to change the mindset of the client, to close the deal, and to start a long-term business relationship. Regardless of what reason behind why the client is objecting, the fact is the client is interested, he's listening to you, and he's actually evaluating what you're saying. So get excited when an objection is raised. Be the professional, be in control, because you know your product better than anyone else. You know exactly what your product can do, and go out and close more deals. Happy selling and good luck.